Kat Timpf in for Greg on this special edition of Gutfeld. Let's welcome tonight's guests. If you think the hair on his head is impressive, wait until you see the hair on his back. Co-host of Fox & Friends Weekend, Charlie Hurd. She got 800 points on the SAT for spelling her own name right. Financial analyst Heather Zumaraga. His voice gives cops probable cause to search his trunk for bodies. Comedian and founder of Western Razor, David Angelo. And she's the cool aunt that gave you beer and portfolio advice. Co-host of The Bottom Line on Fox Business, it's Dagan McDowell. All right, before we get to some news stories, let's do some jokes. Former White House aide Neera Tanden testified that she was authorized to use the auto pen on behalf of President Biden. When asked why Joe let her do that, she replied, "Not Joe, Jill." Comedian Andrew Schulz accused Kamala Harris of lying about not being asked to appear on his podcast. She claimed she wanted to go, but couldn't pick out the right accent. Andrew Cuomo lost the NYC mayoral primary to Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani, marking the second time he's lost a job because of a boob. New York City Mayor Eric Adams ripped Mamdani by calling him a snake oil salesman. Zohran refuted the mayor by saying he's gonna give the oil away for free. Some fitness buffs are saying men are now focusing more on developing their butts and what my boss is already calling the Gutfeld effect. A study finds being optimistic can help you save money. Well then, I'm Thank you, you agree, thank you. Thank you. Director Joseph Kosinski has confirmed there will be a Top Gun 3. In this next installment, Maverick will team up with Tom Selleck to get a kick-ass reverse mortgage. Video shows an overweight tourist being dragged off of a plane in Thailand after demanding a roomier seat. Travel experts say the worst part of being booted off of a plane in Thailand is that people think you're a pedophile. U.S. track star Chris Robinson finished in first place despite having his penis pop out of his shorts during the race. Or you could say he won by an arm and a third leg. You guys are sick. Okay. A former Truist Bank worker said she suffered PTSD after her boss left a life-size Chucky doll in her office chair. I thought my boss did that to me once, but it was just him sitting in my chair. The Daily Mail reports that Kate Middleton's pink princess nails are trending. No word on the color of Prince Andrew's nails because his hands are in his pants. That's where the line is, okay. A new study found that the weight loss drug Victoza can also cut migraine days in half. Also effective in decreasing headaches, turning the sound down when you watch Fox News Saturday night. And finally, Barack and Michelle Obama reportedly had disagreements about how to raise their kids. But one thing they can agree on is that Western Razor is the place to go to for safe, high-quality razors made in America. Wait, how did that get in there? Shameless.
Up to my old tricks.
All right, well, on that note, let's do some stories. Dems aren't amused by men's preference for news. A new survey shows which sources men ages 18 to 45 trust the most when it comes to news. Big surprise, not traditional media. It's podcasts. More men between 18 and 45 trust news from podcasts more than from TV, newspapers, or even social media. Of course, some of the most popular podcasts are programmed for the male audience, so it does kind of make sense. Dem candidates like Kamala Harris also do themselves zero favors when they don't even show up. Comedian Andrew Schulz is accusing the former VP of lying about an interview he wanted to set up on his show during the campaign. They claim that they never heard from him, but Schultz refutes that, telling the New York Times, quote, "Her team just lies, blatantly lies." Yeah, that's one comedian that isn't giving Kamala anything to laugh about, but she probably is anyway. All right. David, where do you go for your trusted news information?
I tell you, I only watch Timpf on the Fox News channel. I love it. Her team refuted.
Yeah.
She's still got a team? Jesus Christ. I want one guy. Can I get one guy? What does it take? No, podcasts. I know that liberals are having a hard time with the podcasting.
Yeah.
I think it's because they just have the most annoying voices. You know, you can't have a good liberal podcast. They screech. It's like when you pick up the phone when the modem's connected. Come on, I thought this crowd. You know, I'm doing that Gen X baby boomer stuff. Come on, you know, don't leave me hanging. It's like when you dial the fax machine number by mistake. You know that sound? That's what it is, listening to a liberal podcast, folks. Okay, westernrazor.com. American-made.
Not everyone can have a voice like, I've been working on my David Angelo impression. You guys want to hear it? Okay. It's like this.
That's very good. That's good.
Razor, 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 razor. Okay. That's why I'm sitting over here. All right. Charlie, do you think that the Dems will ever find their own version of this kind of thing?
No, and I think David's right. They all have the NPR voice. They all sound like the dulcet, put you to sleep sounds of these NPR voices, and nobody wants to listen to it. And it shouldn't be all that surprising, because at the end of the day, like, the credibility, and we talk about it a lot here, and it's very true, and I think it's the biggest thing when we look back, the degree to which the media's credibility has been absolutely staggeringly devastated over the past 10, 15 years, especially in the last couple of years. And the perfect antidote to it is a podcast where you can actually get to know somebody and you listen to the person again and again. And it might not be, you know, the most important news or whatever, and they may not curate all the news, but you at least trust them. And that's what people are looking for. They just want somebody they can believe.
Yeah, well, Kagan, I also think that these podcasts, right, they're entertaining. Also, and they don't like tell you you're a bad person. It's just like dudes being dudes having a good dude time.
Yeah, Joe, when I first started listening to Joe Rogan, all he talked about was MMA, bow hunting mule deer, or axis deer if he was in Hawaii. But if you're going to be a successful podcaster or politician or successful friend to anybody, you're going to choose to wear your crazy on the outside. You're going to be your legitimate self rather than being a phony and burying your crazy. Because when you bury your crazy, what does it do? It ferments like bacteria in a can of tomatoes. And what does that can of tomatoes eventually do? Explode.
Yes.
Poof. I don't want my podcaster exploding all over the place, or my president who has access to nukes.
Yes.
But one thing, what kind of podcast do we love? True crime?
Yes.
If a Democrat wanted to be a successful podcaster, all they have to do is just start spilling the beans about Hillary.
So true. That is...
One body. Just give us one body.
You know, I couldn't agree more about the people that hide their crazy. I mean, people are like, if you think I'm crazy, what you see is what you get, right?
Yep.
But the people that are very like, you go over their house and there's like a lot of weird dolls. You know, there's like something kind of off about those people, or they snap.
Maybe. Not just,
What do you think?
I think that, yes, they could spill dirt on Hillary. That would be one approach. Or they could just be honest, which is what we're all saying, I think, in agreement. Senator Warren did recently do a podcast, I just remembered, to your point, and because she so-called buried that crazy for so long, and they asked her, like, do you really think Joe was mentally capable for doing the job in his last year or two? And she finally has admitted, No, maybe not. Well, he could stand up and he could talk. And they're like, but does that qualify you for being a president? So the problem is...
And also, that's a little debatable.
Right, like he couldn't find his way.
Like, not always.
Right, yeah, not always, right. And he wasn't always even awake. He was asleep half the time. So when they go on these podcasts, I think they're trying. Like Bernie Sanders, didn't he just do Joe Rogan? And he was, at least he's older. I don't agree with the ideology, but he's sharp. He was at least like he could follow along. But those that can't, like Harris, they won't dare do it because that's the result of these things. They look really bad. If Kamala Harris went on Rogan, she would look really bad.
Yeah.
That's why they're
Not just anyone could do Joe Rogan. Get it? Because I did.
Yes, because she did.
Wow.
But that's why their voices sound so grating and awful, is because they're trying so hard to hide how utterly bananas they are. It's like this, they're trying to keep it all stuffed inside.
And that's why so many people like Bernie Sanders, because he doesn't even try to hide his crazy.
Well, you guys, we got to get to this next story, because this is all I've been thinking about since the moment I woke up. Okay. Next story. Laura Ingraham didn't expect him to bring up the rectum. Oh, yeah, baby. Ohio Republican Bernie Moreno was on Laura's show last night to talk about Operation Midnight Hammer when this happened.
One of the Democrats that you just had on your program was in a confidential briefing in the SCIF today and said to General Kane, the operation that you ran will go down in the annals of American history as the greatest military operation ever conducted.
Let's listen one more time, because it's fun, okay?
The operation that you ran will go down in the annals of American history as the greatest military operation ever conducted.
I mean, I honestly commend Laura for keeping it together, but Bernie, he might not be able to sit for a week. I had to look up if there were annals of history, and now I have to meet with my HR about my internet searches. I love you, HR. You always got to throw that in there. Charlie, does this ever happen on Fox and Friends weekend?
Is this a setup? I hope not. But you never know. It could. No, I think it's proof that, some people just, they read a lot and they don't, they
But what are they reading?
Well, if you read annals of history, maybe you don't know how to pronounce it because you're reading it instead of hearing it. This is what happens when you don't have dinner together as a family and you're not sitting around having conversations all the time and you just read things out of a book, because then you don't know how to pronounce them and then you pronounce it the way and he just pronounced it.
But wouldn't you be like, oh, I'm about to say anal on TV? Maybe...
You would think you just go with anything else.
I didn't even, to be honest, I just asked Dagan, fun fact, right before we came on, what was he meaning to say? What was he supposed to say? I couldn't put it together. I understand now, yes. So, but then you're not a real reader.
Well,
if you were a real reader, you would know what it...
Well, he was trying to say assholes of America. But it made me think, who are the annals of history? Woodrow Wilson, annal of history. Virginian, but gave us the income tax. Annal.
We don't talk about that enough. You look like you're dying to say something.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I agree with you that she held it together.
Yeah.
He accidentally slept in. He accidentally slipped into anal, and it happens. You ignore it. You move on. That's what you do. That's what you do.
I would say that it's difficult to ignore.
It hurts that I ruined my own. I mispronounced a joke in my telling of a joke about a mispronunciation. So. Why are they so close together, those words?
Yeah.
Huh? Let's get Webster in here. Webster's dictionary.
Yeah.
I lost you guys.
This is
but you
really-
know, there's a message here. Let's zoom in slow. In the annals of history, I'm nothing. I'm going nowhere. I'm buying time.
All right. Well, I wanted to do the whole show on this, but I was declined. So we'll have to end it there. Before we go, come see me in Nebraska, July 12th and 13th. We're going to have a great time. Get tickets now at therealkattimpf.com. And if you can't make it to Nebraska, you can check me out on Bar Rescue this Sunday on the Paramount Network. Look at that. You got to see why I'm making that face. And up next, 50 Cent claps back.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.